All right. Hey, Kanak, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. It's a pleasure hosting you here at Candid Bytes from the Curated Circle. So we'll dive right in the interest of time, Kanak. So why don't you tell us something about your journey so far? How has it been, and whatever you would like to share with the audience.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much, Anupam, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be
Right.
here. About me, I graduated in 2015 from IIT Kanpur. I studied economics there, and then I joined McKinsey and Company. Worked there for 2 years as an analyst. Then I wanted to travel, so I quit my job and I traveled for 3 months. And after I came back, two of my friends were working on a very interesting startup idea, and they needed help. They did not have money to hire people at that time, so they asked me if I would help them. So I started doing that and got so interested in the idea and the startup world that I stayed there for 5 years as a co-founder. Last year in August 2022 is when I quit that. And since then, I am sort of figuring things out. For 7 months after that, I was on a break, chilling, traveling, relaxing, and also thinking, what should I do next? And in the last 6 months, I've started doing some things with like writing is one which I wanted to explore. So I'm writing on LinkedIn and in general on other platforms. So I think I got a lot interested in writing, and that is something that I think I would go deeper into. And I'm also coaching people on like how to create a side income for themselves, how to create their own solopreneur small business. So I am now working as a solopreneur, trying to experimenting with many things, trying to figure out what works best. That's about me.
Awesome. Awesome. Wonderful. So your solopreneur bit is what like I told you, I've been following your LinkedIn posts, and you have quite a LinkedIn following. I found your solopreneur thoughts very different. While I know there are people who who work as nomads or solopreneurs, whichever way you call it, but quite insightful the way you present your thoughts on the LinkedIn posts, and hence the following, rightly so. So what is the deeper dive into the movement from entrepreneurship to solopreneurship? What really made you move from entrepreneurship to solopreneurship?
Um, I think entrepreneurship is an extremely tough job. So my idea when I quit my full-time 9 to 5 job was a that I want to be flexible. I want to work based on when I feel like working, like flexibility in terms of time. And I also thought that okay, I will have no boss. I will be my own boss, so it will be very cool to be an entrepreneur. There will be less responsibilities. It seemed like a very fascinating idea, but when I did it for 5 years, I realized that it's more tough and challenging than a full time job, because here everything is on you. You have to be responsible, you have to be available. Even when you're on a vacation, you can't take things off your mind at all. It's like you're working 24/7 instead of 9 to 5. Now you're working 24/7. So I think
Yeah.
one thing that I sort of found challenging in entrepreneurship is that it is extremely hectic. And if you are not self motivated, then you sort of take that stress. It takes a toll on your health, basically. So I sort of started feeling that now I'm not getting that motivation to put in that energy in building something and taking care of the team, hiring or developing a team. So that is one reason, I think, lack of uh, that motivation to keep going and keep hustling. I wanted to do something which gives me more time to work on my own stuff, which is like maybe not so large, a small business, but I get flexibility in terms of time, in terms of location. Also don't want to stay in one place and spend my rest of my life there. So I wanted location independence. That was one reason. And I think in general, you feel responsible for a lot of things, especially your team. And if things go south, I mean, it's not easy to handle the stress that comes with hiring people and managing a team. And if you want to let them go, all of that. So I found entrepreneurship overall extremely challenging mentally and physically. And I wanted to do something which gives me more freedom, like I said, in terms of time, location, creative freedom also. I want to work on things that I like. So I thought entrepreneurship was something that was not for me.
Okay, though turns out you were very successful in that too, because I did read you scaled 30 million, sorry, 30 lakh users for the app you were fitness app you were working for, and you got it up to 1 CR ARR as chief business officer. So looks like you were quite doing quite a good job there as well. But having said that, you told some of the benefits of solopreneurship, right? Like a lot of things which many of us would dream of, right? Location independence, independence from a lot of things, right? 9 to 5, or reporting to anyone, or a lot of other things which creative freedom. So what are some of the downsides or challenges of solopreneurship which you personally felt, or you think any solopreneur would come across?
I think the biggest challenge of solopreneurship again is self motivation, because it's just you. There is nobody else to keep you motivated or to push you forward. So if you are not keeping yourself motivated, it's very easy to sort of give up or fall behind. So I think for anyone who wants to take solopreneurship up or wants to think about taking it up, I think they have to first understand how difficult it is to without any support, because in entrepreneurship you have your co-founders, you have a team, you have probably investors, mentors who challenge you, who ask you questions, who keep you accountable. But keeping yourself accountable as a solopreneur is a extremely tough thing. So that I think is a big challenge. And the other challenge is because you're working alone on the business and you have to take care of everything when it comes to running a business, which is like marketing, branding, sales, content creation, building your product, everything will have to do from start to like from scratch to whatever you can think of. So it is, and you may not know everything. Like if I don't know digital marketing, I have to learn digital marketing. So you have to learn so many things as a solopreneur that it also can become sometimes, like I don't want to do so many things. It is also challenging. But overall, I think it helps a lot with personal growth.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, certainly. And how would you look at the financial side? Because for people who are, let's say, and I know a lot of people are these days, times have changed. People have not only just stopped, started quitting from full time jobs, they're going the solopreneurship route as well. So, what are the secrets you would share with them in terms of the financial impact they might be worried of, right? Hey, how do I earn if I'm a solopreneur? Do I, is it really risky, or what's your take on that?
Um, I'd say just like any other business, it takes time to pick up. It's not like if you start today, in 1 month's time, you can expect a decent income from it. It will take
Hmm.
a minimum of 6 to 8 months of hard work every
Hmm.
day from you to get to a level where you can start earning a decent amount. But it will still may not be enough for you to quit your full-time job and focus full-time on soloprenneurship. So I would say, if possible, people should start a side hustle along with their full-time job. At least give 6 months to it. In 6 months time, when you have uh, you know grown a little bit, or you understand how this works, then maybe you can take a better decision in terms of financial, whether you want to quit your job or not. But if somebody thinks that if I quit my job and start working on my own business, it will be enough to make me survive from scratch, it is not going to be like that. It will like 6 to 8 months ka, either you have to have a runway with you, if
Yeah.
you have to have a savings for 6 to 8 months, because otherwise you will come under so much pressure to earn money that you will not be able to focus properly on your business, and that pressure, that mental stress may want you to maybe take another job or do things that you may not want to do.
Yeah.
Because another thing in solopreneurship is it's not like you can do anything. We want that you do something that you really enjoy, because it is a long term business that we're thinking of building.
Right, 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 right. Right. So yeah, I mean, your passion meeting your skill, meeting the need, kind of thing. So and probably like you said, like any other business, a runway of sorts is probably very necessary to
Yes.
to make sure that you get enough time to explore what you set out for. Um,
Yes.
so, Kanak, you are doing multiple things. I read you're an Airbnb host in Goa. You love traveling, of course. You write. So what do you write? You write short stories, or do you write? What kind of thing do you write?
Mostly, I write stuff on personal development and personal growth, like
Okay.
how whatever I am learning, I try to share it through my articles. If I'm traveling somewhere, I try to share my journey. And like when I did a solo trip to Europe, I shared how I managed to spend 1 month in Europe in just 1 lakh rupees. So the tips and tricks that I followed for budget travel. So those kinds of stuff, and mostly stuff related to personal development. Yeah.
That's good. So your Airbnb hosting travelers or traveling, that must be adding a lot to your writing journey, right?
It's definitely adding a lot in general, life experiences wise. When I moved to Goa 5 months back, I started hosting people in my home itself in Goa. In
Mhm.
the spare bedroom, I'm hosting people. So sometimes I meet such amazing people. Like there was this one time when a 70-year-old couple was living with us for like a week, and it was so amazing because I have never lived with people that old, and it is a different experience in terms of how you understand things from their point of view, how they have seen life. Then there was another time when somebody who was also very fond of Goa was living with us in our Airbnb, and then he was recommending us places, suggesting different things to do, and then we went out and we just hung out together and explored things together. So there are many different experiences that it is giving me. Sometimes I try to share those experiences through my writing, but many times I just enjoy being with people and meeting different kinds of people. So it's a nice experience to have, definitely.
No, no, I'm sure. I'm sure meeting different kinds of people and kind of absorbing their insights or absorbing the moments, right? In the sense that everybody brings a different flavor. So, of course, that really makes a lot of sense. So, you're also into startup mentoring. So, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what kind of startups you've mentored? How has that journey been?
So it actually happened because I started sharing my startup journey on LinkedIn, the 5 years entrepreneurship experience, and because I was majorly handling sales, so things around sales and everything related to my journey. And based on that, because maybe some founders were reading my LinkedIn post, so they reached out and asked me to help build their startup. They are in a very very early stages. So there's this healthcare company that I was consulting for some time. They wanted my help with website development, content creation, building their partnerships. So that is one. Then there was another startup which wanted my help in training their sales team,
Hmm.
and talking to their salespeople and understanding where they are lacking and giving them tips to improve their pitches and all of that. So these are different things that I do as a startup mentor.
No, very interesting. I mean, your own solopreneurship experience plus your diverse experiences of meeting so many people, plus the fact that you have rich corporate experience too. Besides being a co-founder at a startup, you also have your McKinsey experience to talk about, which we've not spoken about yet. So why don't you tell us something about how McKinsey turned out, and how was it? How was that experience, and how does it still linger along in your current, current pursuits?
I think the overall experience was great. It was my first job out of college, and the first time that you start earning money, and then you feel like, now you you can do anything that you want. But in terms of work, I think the people were great. There, I learned a lot. In fact, because I studied economics, and in economics also we do some quantitative analysis in our projects in college. So the same softwares and the same kind of data analysis skills that I was doing in college were useful in that job. And I loved economics and doing data analysis, regressions, and that sort of thing. So I think I loved what I was doing there. I just say that after 2 years, it sort of became a little monotonous for me, because now you're just changing clients, but the data set is sort of same and the problem statements are sort of same. That you're devising a go-to-market strategy for a client, or you are doing some customer feedback analysis for a client to understand customer loyalty. So the problem statements more or less were the same. The clients were different. So I thought maybe what I had to learn from this job is done. I need to now explore something else, because I was still too young. Just it was my first job after college, so I wanted to explore different career opportunities and what is out there, basically. But I'd say that it was not like how I thought of a 9 to 5 job. It was very flexible. It's not like you have to check in at a certain time and check out at a certain time. You can come in whenever you want, but you just finish what tasks you've been given. And the people were great. I think I'm friends with quite a few from my first job still. So overall, it was an amazing experience. And to answer your question of how it still helps me, I think the brand is always going to help me, because that's what brands do. Just like having an IIT tag or a McKinsey tag, so that's sort of opens doors somewhere. People like to talk to you, or people like to listen to you, whatever you have to say. So I think that's going to be always there in terms of how it is going to help me as a brand.
Sure, sure. So which, and you spelled it out, and I was about to come to that. How are you still in touch? You must be still in touch with your IIT network, and that must also be there as a as an integral part of your journey. And I'm sure a lot of them would be quite thrilled to note the way you are progressing in a very different direction.
Yeah, I mean, the best friends that you have are usually from school or college. I have some of the best friendships that I made in IIT. It's difficult to make friends after college, honestly.
Hmm.
So, and I think everybody's doing in my friends network. Everybody is doing such diverse things, that it's also interesting to see how different things can people explore and do and even excel at. It's not always the core that you studied in college that people get into. They get into anything. Like, some people are working in NGOs, and like they have built great careers working in NGOs. Some people are doing startups. Some people are doing, like, they did their masters in different streams, public policy, for example. Some people did their PhD. So there are so many different things that my friends are doing. And whenever we talk and discuss, like things in our lives, it's like getting to know an entire world altogether.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I
in
mean,
terms of friendships, I think some of the best friendships I've made are from college.
sure, sure. So, fitness app yoga teacher. So there's something to do with fitness here. So why don't you tell us something more about your yoga teaching, part of yourself, and most probably linking back to your fitness app experience.
Yeah, so I actually got interested in yoga during lockdown, because there was nothing much to do. I was living alone in Bombay and lockdown happened. So I started just like practicing some bits and I got very interested in yoga. I thought like this is the best thing somebody can do for their physical health, at least, even mental, but physical also a lot. And I did it for like maybe 3 4 months during lockdown. YouTube videos, dekhe, and I was practicing on my own. And then I got so interested that I wanted to do a full time yoga course to like understand the philosophy and the anatomy, how the body works, and different asanas and all of that. So then I decided to do a 1 month long teacher training course, which again happened during lockdown. I went to Rishikesh and did that course. And also the idea to connect back, you were right. We wanted to connect it back to the fitness app. We thought that we will introduce a new feature of, teaching yoga on the app. And I could, because I am now doing the course, I could only start it as a teacher, and then after we understand how all of it works, we can probably rope in more teachers and make it like a full-fledged offering in a fitness app. But it
Mhm.
never happened, unfortunately.
Mhm. No, but yeah, interesting. So now, tell me the secret behind this LinkedIn following and LinkedIn interactions that you get. I know your topics and your way of writing is very insightful. But tell us something that doesn't meet the eye. Why Kanak has become viral on LinkedIn? Share some secrets with us.
First of all, I have not become viral. I think you're making it sound like I am some, celebrity on LinkedIn, but I am still just trying to grow there. My idea of starting to write on LinkedIn was that I wanted to build an audience, because I realized that I don't want to do a full-time job, not do I want to do a like a big business startup, traditional startup sort of a thing. So if I want to do something of my own, a small business, I need an audience to sort of distribute my product or services in that audience. And because I also wanted to see whether I enjoy writing in the long run. So these were the
Mhm.
two reasons that I started writing on LinkedIn. And I genuinely started enjoying it after like a month or two. I got so deep into it. I was reading books about LinkedIn and like understanding and everything about the algorithms and copywriting and this and that. And now I feel like it's just, another part of life. I have to write on LinkedIn. My style is usually to share like personal stories, things from my journey, observations from life, lessons from my probably mistakes or failures, sharing about my achievements in general. Like, so when I was on a break and I wanted to grow on LinkedIn, I just started sharing that why I quit my startup, why had I quit my job, what do I want to do now. So the solopreneurship is basically like building in public. Everything that I have built as a solopreneur, whatever coaching business that I have built, I have done it because I started writing on LinkedIn. So it's like it's in a way for me a platform where I am building a business with the people that want to listen from me or talk to me or probably gain something from my life's journey and experiences. So that's how I view LinkedIn, and that's why I like try to share openly and honestly whatever is happening, the failures, the goods, the bads, and the ugly. So that's LinkedIn for me. I think I'm gonna keep writing and understanding my audience, and whatever they need, probably I'm going to build a business around that. That's the idea.
No, I'm sure you will. Yeah, no, no, I'm good idea because I'm sure it shows up in your posts and it shows up in the reactions to the posts. More importantly, so on that note, you've already shared a lot of interesting things around having a runway before solopreneurship or etc. etc. But are there any other points or a cheat sheet, so to say, for people who want to become solopreneurs now, or best practices or recommendations you will give uh, to a person who wants to move from a job to a solopreneurship or entrepreneurship to a solopreneurship, in terms of a few things they might consider or might have it at the fore so that they are more likely to be successful?
I think the most important thing is the mindset, because I've spoken to a lot of people about it in the last few months, probably some 70 people. Um, and a lot of people, before even they start to do something or they start to get into it, they want to understand how quickly they can make money.
Hmm.
So I think the mindset should not be that I want to make money as soon as possible. It's not, solopreneurship is just like starting any other business. It's not a get rich quick scheme.
Hmm.
It is also where you need to put hard work. So you first need to get into that mindset that it is going to take at least 6 to 8 months of consistent work. It's not like you do something for a month and then you drop it and then pick it up again and then expect something to happen. It's not going to happen. So you
Right.
have to have that, determination to work consistently for that for like 6 to 8 months, and you need to identify what is it that you want to monetize as a side business. Probably
Hmm.
start it with your full-time job. To give you an example, if it is writing, start writing with your full-time job on LinkedIn, on Medium, any other platform that you feel like. But when you do it for like 2, 3 months, you will understand A, whether you really enjoy writing or not,
Hmm.
and B, you will get better at things. Because once you start writing, initially you feel like people will judge me and what should I say? I don't have enough material, people have already said everything. So I think it's not like you need to invent something new. There's the ideas are not new. How you do it or how you say it is what makes it new or unique to yourself. So you need to find out what matches your skill, what matches your interest, and you need to start doing it,
Hmm.
taking action basically. If you don't do it, you will never know whether you like it and you will never get better at it. So once you start taking action, do it for 6 months and then see whether you are getting somewhere or not. So what I'm
Hmm.
trying to get at is the mindset is the most important thing when you want to become a solopreneur, and you should not look at it as a short term thing. You should always look at it as something which will take some time, probably a year. But once it happens, it it will give you freedom like nothing else. It will, I mean, I can only experience say from my experience, but the kind of, you know flexibility that I have now in terms of I can work from anywhere. Like I never thought I would move to Goa, but I did, because I have that flexibility now in terms of time. I can work at night or morning whenever I want. I can work on things that I enjoy, not have to, you know, get instructions from someone. I can work with people that I like working with. I don't have to just work with anybody and everybody. So there are so many benefits, and to get there, you have to put in that time and effort. So I think that's the most important thing that I want to say to anyone who
Yeah.
wants to get into it.
Sure, sure. No, you are living a life which is quite a dream for a lot of people. So I must say that's probably the topmost benefit that meets the eye when I look at a solopreneur such as yourself. Now, just to double click a little more on the LinkedIn writing experience or any niche that someone picks up, right? So when a solopreneur is starting, let's say he or she starts writing on LinkedIn, does he or she experiment with two or three different genres or two or three different categories of writing because may not be sure what will click, right? So, or do they just
Yeah.
generally go with what they think appeals to themselves the most, or what's the approach?
I think start with whatever is coming in your mind, whatever you're interested in. Like I started sharing my travel stories, my startup experiences, because that's what I knew. I did not have anything else to share. But what happens in the journey is when you write for 1 month, you can now you what you're doing is you're collecting data. Based on
Yeah.
that 1 month's posts patterns, you can identify which posts are working, which are getting more engagement, which are getting less engagement. So the topics which are getting more engagement will give you an indication that this is what your audience want to hear from you. So then deep down on that topic, probably research a bit, read more, and then write more deeper stuff on that topic and then see how the audience reacts. So I think it is another process where you understand your audience, basically like user research. When you build a product, you need to identify the problems or pain points of the audience and then build the features in that products to solve those pain points. This is similar. When I'm writing, I need to identify what my people are reacting on, what kind of questions they are asking, what kind of comments they are dropping, and all of that data gives me an idea of what my audience wants to listen from me, and then I try to share more on that.
Fair, fair. Very, very logical approach. I think goes back to your economics and work experience in your early days.
I'm a
So
data person, numbers person.
which always helps. So, Kanak, we are reaching the end of the half hour which we had planned. So, any parting thoughts from your end?
um, I think my parting thoughts would be that whatever you want to do or you wish you had done, just take action. Don't think about it. Don't think that I have to first take some courses or some degrees or I have to learn from here and there and then only I can do it. Start doing it and you will learn in the process. The process will show you the path, and you will start getting so many ideas. I never knew that I could do all of that before started writing on LinkedIn. I
Mhm.
just started and all of it happened on its own. So taking
Yeah.
action is the most important thing. Just take action and you will know where to go.
Sure. No, fair. That's a very, it sounds very sound advice. And on that note, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Have a wonderful evening in Goa while we
You
continue with our
have,
work chores. But
thank you for having me. It was my pleasure. Thank you.
absolute pleasure. Thanks, Kanak.
All right. Bye bye.